If you own any kind of digital asset, you hopefully have your own private wallet with your own private keys. But how do you make sure that the wallet provider of your choice is trustworthy? The following 5 points will help you to evaluate the trustworthiness of any wallet provider. First of all, you want to check what kind of legal entity is behind the wallet provider. Is it an individual, a startup, a foundation, a tech giant, or a core team? You don't necessarily want to trust an individual or a young startup which you don't know with a lot of your money. Foundations like the Ethereum Foundation, tech giants like HTC, or core teams like Bitcoin Core have a proven track record or have a lot to lose in terms of a tech giant, which makes it rather reliable. You also want to take a look which kind of location this legal entity chooses to incorporate. Jurisdictions like Germany, Singapore, or the US are rather reliable if you compare it to rather liberal jurisdictions like the Cayman Islands. You also want to take a look on how long this legal entity is on the market already. If the wallet provider only existed for a couple of months, that's rather a bad sign. But if they are on the market for a couple of years and have a proven track record, then obviously that's a good sign for their reputation. The second point is the activity of the wallet provider, which includes the frequency of updates, the customer service, the community interaction, as well as the dedication to education. Frequency of updates is rather self-explanatory. Obviously it's better if a wallet provider offers regular updates instead of just randomly some updates with a lot of time in between. When it comes to customer service, this gets a little bit more complicated because obviously it depends on the type of wallet you're using. If you're using a custodial wallet which is provided by a third party like an exchange, then obviously you want to have a really good customer service, which is not necessarily the case if you're using a software wallet like a mobile wallet which you download on your smartphone, where you are your own bank, where you take care of the private key. Still, the wallet provider, even if it's a software wallet or especially a hardware wallet, then they should commit to customer service and try to answer all questions and solve all the issues which a customer could face. When it comes to community interaction, a wallet provider has a lot of choices to interact with their users. That can range from AMA, Ask Me Anything sessions, interaction on social media like Twitter or Facebook, or even dedicated communication channels for the wallet itself. For example, Telegram channels or Discord channels. A wallet provider should also provide you with a lot of educational resources that you as a user can learn how the whole decentralized networks work and how you can interact with them. The third point which you want to check is the commitment to security, which includes security audits, the open source classification and peer reviews, as well as past bugs or hacks and the response of the wallet provider. Security audits are external and independent security analysis executed by experts on the field of cryptography and security architecture. They evaluate the code of the wallet provider and publish a report which illustrates potential security vulnerabilities. When it comes to open source, it gets a little bit tricky again. Obviously, custodial wallets like exchanges will always go for a closed source approach, since they need to minimize the attack surface and protect them as good as possible. When it comes to software or hardware wallets where you own your private key, it's actually recommended to go for a wallet provider which goes for an open source approach. That means that the program code is available to download for the public in the original programming language. So programmers which understand the programming language can take a deeper look into the software and evaluate if the program and the code does what it's supposed to do. However, some wallet providers will still go for the closed source approach or for a hybrid in between, since they fear that a third party just copies their source code and publishes the same software under another name. That's especially a problem when it comes to fake wallets, where a malicious third party just copies the software code. And instead of creating the public address based on a randomly created private key, they put in their static address. That already happened to Bread Wallet and Bitcoin Gold Wallet, and it's still a problem where we don't really have a solution for. Another important consideration in terms of security is the response of the wallet provider in terms of a bug or even a hack. So what did the wallet provider do to tackle the problem? How fast was he? And how did the wallet provider ensure that all their users are as secure as possible? Point number 4 is the connection to the crypto community, which includes the background of the founders, the level of establishment within the tech, financial or crypto industry, and the membership of foundations, working groups, as well as the participation in standardization efforts. If the founders are already well known because of past startups, a lot of speeches at events and so on, that's obviously a good sign. If you don't know them at all or nobody knows them, you want to be careful. And how established is the team behind the wallet in different industries? If a wallet provider is a member of a foundation or working group which aims to solve problems which we face in the crypto industry, then obviously that's a good sign for the reputation as well. Something which is particularly interesting here is the participation in standardization. Especially interesting are the Bitcoin improvement proposal or the Ethereum improvement proposal, which are used to standardize how these networks work. A good example for that is the Bitcoin improvement proposal 39, which basically explains how recovery seeds work. A lot of these standardization efforts were made by the wallet provider Trezor as well as Electrum. Last but not least, we have the online reputation of the wallet provider, which includes the amount of followers on social media, the number of downloads on the Play and App Store, the rating on different rating sites, as well as a quick Google search of the name of the wallet provider plus scam. Obviously, you want to take the amount of followers on social media with a grain of salt. Nevertheless, it makes a difference if a wallet provider got 100,000 followers on Twitter instead of 1,000. And actually, Twitter is the best indicator for that, since it is the most used social media network from the crypto community. Another good indicator for mobile wallets especially is the number of downloads on the App or Play Store. Here you can directly see the feedback as well as the rating of the users of the wallet. And there are other platforms which kind of offer this kind of rating as well, like Crypto Compare. Something which also makes sense is to go for a quick Google search. So you type in the name of the wallet provider plus the word scam. Most of the articles or forum posts which you get for established wallet providers are rather a problem from user side and not from the wallet provider side. However, if you read a lot of entries, a lot of articles about a certain wallet provider with the topic of scam, and it seems like the wallet provider has the fault, then obviously you want to take caution. So what do you think? Which wallet provider got the best reputation in the whole crypto ecosystem? The video of next Sunday will be an introduction to self-sovereign identity, the new online identity framework. So if you don't want to miss that, subscribe and hit the bell button. Thanks for watching, keep on hodling, and don't forget, own your keys. See you next week.